It's so nice to see everyone's faces. I'm going to kick us off. So I typically we'll do just a quick little intro, and then we're gonna very quickly get to our juicy conversation with our guest Ashley. So I'm Michelle. This is Krista. We are both friends, former colleagues, and business partners for the last year or so. We both happen to be incredibly passionate about community, hence why we're doing these sessions. And it dawned on us that there were brands out there who were looking to bring more community building into their strategies in a world that really trended sort of digital first for many years, and that was a bit of a heyday until it got very expensive to operate that way. And I think brands are coming around to seeing the value in investing in community as a way to build brand love. And that was the genesis of us creating Community Academy. It's a way for us to take everything we know and teach it to more people so that there's more of us in the world who are out there building communities. And through that, we felt like we were very lucky to know in the world who are incredible, inspiring community builders. And we wanted to chat with them, and we wanted not just for it to be us, but to open it up, open the conversations up to more of a wider audience. And that's where this notion of brand together came from. So here we are. That's my little spiel. And we would love to just quickly hear from you all. We want to get the vibes going of this being a dialogue, being conversational. And once we go through our conversation with Ashley, there'll be lots of time at the end to jump in and hop off mute and whatnot. And so in the meantime, if everyone can just, obviously we can see your names, but if you can just share who you are, if you're representing a brand, feel free to share that. And then also, what is inspiring you these days? We'd love to hear about that. So just pop it in the chat, and we'll just connect and read as we go. And then,
Yeah.
Here we go. Ready to jump in.
If you don't, some of you are becoming regulars, which makes us so happy. And if you don't already know, we host these Brand Together Live conversations every second Thursday of the month at the same time. So you can keep an eye on the events page on our website for upcoming guests. We have a couple of incredible humans lined up after for the next couple of months that we can't wait to share with you as well.
Speaking of incredible humans, Krista, will you introduce everyone to Ashley?
It would be my absolute pleasure. So we got to know Ashley fairly recently in the last couple of months through a connection that Michelle has made earlier in her career. Ashley is based in New York, I think specifically Brooklyn today. And we got to know her through her recent work with the DEN, which is stands for Digital Executive Network. And Ashley and her team were kind enough to invite Michelle and I to join and lead up for the DEN membership recently. And we were super energized meeting and plugging into this incredible network of women and making some new friends, Ashley being one of them. We're super inspired by her incredible career experience. So Ashley is a community architect and experiential strategist. She's got nearly a decade of experience connecting brands, people, and ideas through intentional programming. She's led high impact invite only networks at organizations such as Forbes Council, Community.co, and the Den, as I mentioned a minute ago. And she really specializes in engaging executives from top consumer brands. She's known for blending creative vision with operational excellence, and she builds purposeful events and partnerships that drive retention, deepen relationships, and fuel growth. So we're super excited to be able to connect with Ashley and plug into her experience and her wisdom today. Thanks so much for joining us. And of course, we're recording this session. So we'll make sure to post that in the next couple of days in case this is a conversation that you want to share with anyone in your network.
Amazing. Thanks so much for joining us, Ashley. We can't wait to chat. We love to kick off brand together in a little bit more of an informal way by shooting some rapid fire questions your way. So I'm going to throw those over to you, Ashley. What is one word your friends would use to describe you?
So a one word is really tough, but I on my desk, I have this name tag from an event that I did, a Forbes Council's exchange. It's like a multi-day summit that I put on. And at one of our last nights, dinners, what we did was we asked people to, have their name tag, to pass it around the table, and everyone puts a word that comes to mind when they think of their experience with you over their time meeting you. So I'm gonna put a bunch of I'm gonna read a bunch of them if that's okay, because I feel like what I think about myself really doesn't matter. What other people do does, right? So let's see here. We have kind, awesome, organizer, gracious, relentless, badass. Don't know if we're allowed to curse on here. The best, connector, overly capable, cheerleader, and wonderful, best host ever. And it goes on. But those are just some words that my members think of me, which I feel like is so much nicer than kind of what I can come up with.
I love that so much. And the fact that you keep it there in front of you is the best part of it all. It's like you should read that every day. Um, Ashley, what was your dream job as a kid?
Ooh, that's a good one. So, two. Thought I just swore I was gonna be an Olympian. I did end up doing DU on track and field throughout college, but I also was a competitive cheerleader, and I was like, cheerleading's gonna become an Olympic sport, and I'm gonna be an Olympian. So, yeah, those are the two ones that I just swore were gonna be the case for me. Oh, and newsletter and a news anchor. Did I lose you guys?
No, you're good. We can hear you. I think Michelle and Krista are frozen.
Okay.
Those are amazing careers you wanted to be. That's so inspiring.
Yeah, I don't know why the news anchor. I thought I was gonna be talking to people every day. But I am talking to people every day
I
in
was
a
gonna
different
say you're kind of doing it. That's so good.
way.
Looks like they might be rejoining. Oh, you're on mute. Oh,
Can you
Claire
hear?
took over for us. Of course you did, Claire. You're our
Oh,
angel,
I
guardian
was like third
angel.
in line. It was a team effort.
Oh, good. Okay. Love you all. Did we finish up our dream job question? I hope everyone heard.
D1 track.
Yeah.
And then lost you.
Yeah, I had said either an Olympian or a news anchor, and I thought I was going to be speaking to the public on TV all my life, and I just wanted to connect with people, but I'm connecting with people in a different way. So, I
I
feel
was
like
gonna say, this is giving those vibes.
yeah.
What is your favorite thing about living in New York, we said, or Brooklyn specifically?
Yeah, the variety for sure. The fact that you can still have like a routine and go about your life, but also like you can break out of that routine and quite literally do anything at any time with anyone. So yeah, I think just like the variety, the spontaneity, I love the access that New York kind of gives you to anything.
Is anybody else singing Alicia Keys in their head right now? What can't you live without?
Ooh, this is cheesy, probably love.
Oh, yes.
I can't live without love. I am a loving person. I just love for, love my family, love my friends. And yeah, I think like life without love is just really, really sad.
Agreed. Okay, final rapid fire. What's your guilty pleasure?
Reality TV, dating specific. I know, I know. It has me in a chokehold. So if it's whether it's Love is Blind or the really
Also
toxic
involves love.
recent, yeah.
Love Island. Love Island. That's another
Yes,
one.
yes, yes, yes.
I love that love is the red thread throughout some of these questions. That's so great. Misha's just going to answer the door and we'll continue on. Let's dive in. We have some questions for you, Ashley, and then we're going to hold space to hear from our friends and our community of participants today. But we thought we'd kick things off with one of our favorite questions. We never tire of hearing varied responses to this question. But what does community mean to you?
It's definitely kind of an ever evolving word and feeling for me. I've been in the space for quite some time now. I'd say it before, it was very simple, convenient, and kind of like an additive, like something that would be beneficial and great for your life. But now I feel like it's much more complex and competitive for people's time and just like vital, like not really optional. It's always existed in our personal lives, but professionally, and it's being integrated into business models now. So I feel like it's definitely much more of an intentional kind of space now than it ever was before.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Lots of
Yeah.
nodding happening.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's irreplaceable, right? It's just like a kind of creating that space that deeply bonds people somehow.
Yeah, and in the digital age that we find ourselves living in, I don't know about you all, but I'm finding the value increasing on what feels like a literal daily basis. Like I cherish my community moments and connections, especially the in real life ones, more than maybe I ever have before. And I think that trend will continue, which is why we're all here.
Right, absolutely.
So tell us about how you have come to build your career as a community builder.
Oh, well, that was totally an accident. Yeah, I actually love telling this story. I was had moved to Boston years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago. Uh, and decided, I want to try something new. I had kind of tried a certain career path already and really kind of wanted to get back on the search and was having a moment to myself like, what am I good at? What do I really enjoy? So I'm looking for jobs, and I had been living with a friend of mine, and they said, hey, like, have you looked at Craigslist? Who remembers Craigslist, first of all? And I was like, no, they don't like jobs. I'm a professional. Like, I'm looking for a corporate job. Like, I don't want a task job. They said, no, there's real jobs on Craigslist. I said, okay, fine, I'll try it. So I go on Craigslist. I see this listing. It says, want to host events and build community for awesome entrepreneurs, question mark, exclamation point. Of course, I was like, immediately, yes. Tell me more. So I clicked on it, and it was actually for the first community that I joined as a kind of community and program manager, and that was Young Entrepreneur Council. And joining that role and that team and that kind of community of folks building their own really innovative and inspiring businesses completely changed my life. It was just so like yeah, so aspiring. I was literally hosting events for people who were my age. I was 23 at the time. So at 23, I'm looking at people build their own companies, multi-million dollar companies, into the tens, the hundreds of millions of dollars. And I'm like, I'm basically I'm getting my MBA right now for free. I'm getting paid to get my MBA right now through these people's experiences. So that kind of just snowballed into me being with them and building additional communities. We had kind of mastered creating the feeling of community, creating the processes that go behind community that people actually don't really understand, and we kind of copy and pasted in a sense, but always had a really unique component dependent on the different brand that we were building a community for. And that then turned into Forbes Councils. And I then created their whole signature experiences program, which was, well, after I did their virtual and physical events, I then created another revenue stream for the company in regards to signature experiences. And I just really fell in love with connecting with people. I mean, I quite literally have been getting paid to eat, drink, and make people happy for for a decade. It's been a total accident.
And a dream. It sounds like aside from an Olympian or
News
a
anchor,
TV
yeah,
host, it sounds like there couldn't be a more perfect role for you, Ashley.
for sure.
I think Krista asked my question out of necessity. So we're just gonna swap in here. I would love to hear. So, we've been shouting from the rooftops pretty much that, community is an essential, not an optional, way of building a brand and a business. And we'd love to hear from you why you think it's essential for brands and businesses in today's landscape.
For sure. I mean, ultimately, I feel community is the most trusting environment you can build and have with others. It's just there's something organic about it. So, and nowadays, I just feel like trust is currency. Like, if people trust you, they will buy into anything that they believe in. So people are tired of being marketed at. They're tired of, the same old kind of buy now, like testing kind of an urgency. I think people have stepped back, rearranged their priorities, making sure that love or life and family, etc., are above consumerism, right? So I think that when you create that world for them that already exists in the things that they care about on a day-to-day basis, it allows for them to now trust the brand, to now want to be incorporated in it and invest in
Incredible.
We couldn't agree more.
it.
Okay, so I'll go now. Tell us about a game-changing partnership you've been at the helm of.
Yeah, there's been a lot, but I feel like my most memorable and fun ones to share would certainly be earlier in my career when I used to go to South by Southwest every year and host something for a community, and so we had a series. So annually, we would host something. One of the years we did something. We took over an Airstream park. It was out on South Congress in Austin, Texas during South by, and we partnered with a variety of different brands, local brands, as well as, the big ones. So I think like La Marca Prosecco, and there was this company called Hooch at the time that we partnered with, as well as brands that like Andela, so like a tech kind of software engineers outsourcing for businesses like being led by smaller entrepreneurial companies. So really bringing in businesses like that help their day to day. So partnering with something that brings immediate value to your community like was something that I've always kind of stood on. So what does this mean for the partner, right? It means that they're obviously it's mutually beneficial. It's obviously being placed into uh, can you guys hear them? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I think they're frozen again. I'm not sure if I should continue or not.
Yeah,
Can you?
I think continue. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
we're listening, so.
So everyone's here. Okay, great.
Again, this seems to be a trend, but we always come back, so that's good. We're
uh, yeah, I think the most game changing partnerships tend to be the ones that are most game changing for the community, right? So for me, it's typically been things that will ultimately change the business model or kind of like the footprint that one of our partners can do or be a benefit for our community. So in that particular case, we had a lot of entrepreneurs that had really thriving companies but small teams. They couldn't afford to compete with the Facebooks and the Amazons for engineers, so we brought in a company that had outsourced an engineer. So that was really, really beneficial. We actually at the time use the company as well. So that was something that was really kind of took off that partnership itself, as well as we did something really awesome another year where we had a lounge, a hospitality kind of suite, and we partnered with Prudential. And whenever someone thinks about Prudential, what do people think about Prudential? Like what's the first thing that you think of?
I don't know. I was like feeling like ready to take a nap.
Bored, right? I feel like bored's usually the word that I think of. So we partnered with Prudential for the Young Entrepreneur Council, and we completely changed that narrative. But you also think old, right? So I do. So what we did was we partnered with Prudential to have a millennial focused kind of lounge that took a nod at retirement. Like what will millennials look like when they're retired? So we had models come in and we had makeup artists make millennials look really old, and like they were the bartenders and they were the staff. We also had this really awesome activation on site where it told you what type of millennial you were in relation to like what you should be thinking about for retirement. So it kind of made like the idea of getting old as a millennial cool. So super just different kind of way to tap into our network and our kind of audience and partner with a company like Prudential. So yeah, that I'll always remember. It was super fun and also addressed something that honestly like millennials don't think a lot. So yeah.
I love it so much. I like we all need to be in framing. Oh, oh,
Can you hear you
tragic.
again?
Oh, we're back. Yes, it didn't throw us off for forever. I was going to say we all need to be reframing what it means to get a day, a week, a month, a year older. And I am looking at you, Andrea, because you're part of that big time. I could talk to you forever about South by Southwest. Maybe I'll get some questions going later about that experience. Where do you get your community built? So you have such creative ideas, clearly, figuring out how to build these activations and make it something that's actually going to add value to your community. And where do you get your inspo from, Ashley, on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah. A lot of different places. I think professionally, I definitely the people I serve, right? So I am a strong believer in not guessing, right? Just simply asking your community what it is they want, what it is they need, and then going for that. So, yeah, definitely the people I serve, like that's inspiration in itself. But, I've just been really, really lucky to work with people who are super smart. My peers, the leaders that I've had, and the roles that I've been in, partnerships, like, yeah, people I serve and work with. And then on the flip side of that, in my personal life, I certainly think about it just through some things that I love and are passionate about are hospitality. Like I love going out to eat. I love going to different hotels. I love travel. So I think about how I feel in those different settings, and I oftentimes will bring back those different experiences and kind of drip them into my community. So, for instance, if you go to a hotel, right, and most hotels don't do this, but whether it's boutique or just a really one that it has a lot of intentionality behind it, and those handwritten notes that they do, like "Welcome, Ashley," to "We're glad you stayed with us," etc. Like those things mean so much to me, and I'm like, I want my members to feel like this. So I'm like big on handwritten notes, sending them out. That's typically a part of my onboarding process. Like I want that to be the case through and through. What I experience in my personal life that I feel is beneficial, I'm bringing that into the community.
We're obsessed that you bring this up because it's so simple and so easy to add those thoughtful, experiential hospitality touches. And you make me think of a great source of inspiration for me has also been my own hospitality experience. And one of my favorite books that is like, it shows up as a hospitality book, but it's actually, I think, my my favorite leadership and community building book of all time, and it's Unreasonable Hospitality. So I want to share that as a recommendation if anyone hasn't come across it. But there's some nice close connections to your hometown of New York there, Ashley. And then one of my favorite newsletters that lands in my inbox every week is called Pre-Meal, and it's written by Will Gadara, the author of Unreasonable Hospitality. And every week he tells a very short and succinct story of like a simple above and beyond gesture from a hospitality perspective that like resonated deeply or like changed the game for somebody. And I'm so glad you bring up hospitality so that I can plug a couple of my favorite sources.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think another one that I'll kind of add in before we move forward would be health and fitness. Like when I think health and fitness, typically like health and fitness communities are some of the strongest communities I have ever seen because it's very, very clear what the goal is, right? And it's a lifestyle. So I feel like when you can make community a lifestyle, a part of someone's life, it's really, really hard to get them out of that, right? It's really hard because it's embedded in them. So, I pay attention to health and fitness brands and what they're doing because it allows for me to kind of duplicate in my own way.
Yeah, we always talk about how running groups or running brands they almost have it easy in a way. No, community building is hard. Let's be real, but there's just a natural sense of community that arises from doing something hard together, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why that's the same thing with executive community, right? It's not easy being an executive. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. You want to talk to people who are also going through that. You need that support. So yeah, absolutely. I agree.
1000%.
Yeah, I love how that bridge, gorgeous bridge, Ashley, between like entrepreneurship, executive leadership, and as like another example of what discomfort looks like, and how much growth and connection can come from navigating
Together.
Yeah. Okay, so we know that you believe that community can and should be embedded in everything in business. Can you say more about this?
Yeah, yeah. I think that especially now, because even though we've come so far, right, in the space of community or what brands and businesses think community is, it still sometimes is a siloed, right? It's like, oh, just do that community thing and build that community, and it's quite, it's not as intentional as it should be all the time. So when I say it should be embedded in everything, like it should be very collaborative. It should be in tune with all of your departments. It shouldn't be that thing over there. It requires intention. It requires resources, and a lot of people don't like giving resources to things that don't have as much direct ROI as other departments may. But I feel like, and I have seen it, when you make that investment, that upfront investment, it comes back tenfold. So, I think integrating, community into every step, and for a business, let's say, or a brand, into every step in that consumer journey, right? That's when you win. It's quite simple, but that mindset tweak is something that I think a lot of brands and businesses need to make, and making sure that it's linked in and everyone is thinking that they're a community builder.
Oh, that is so good. We talk about this in our group coaching as part of Community Academy. Like a big challenge that often arises is how do you get that stakeholder engagement internally? And our advice is always, well, get them out to get them involved in your community experiences. Like
Absolutely.
Kiwis, the Lululemon half marathon, have your CFO handing out medals at the end of the race and have them feel for themselves the power of these experiences rather than seeing, photos afterwards or even hearing an event recap. Like those, yes, go a long way.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, we're gonna reorder the questions. We're gonna keep you on your toes just because we want to keep this this line of conversation going. It's so juicy.
Yeah, you brought up one of the like hottest topics, which is around like the relationship between community building and how you measure return on investment from a business and from a P&L perspective. So let's go there. How do you measure ROI when it comes to community building?
Yeah, it is hard. So I will say that. I'll start with that. Or it can be hard depending on the business. For me, of course, I'm a bit of a kind of most of my career has been paid memberships, right? So therefore it's the retention on the membership. In a brand or a business, it's retention on the consumer, right? Retention on them coming back and purchasing from you. But in my experience, it's certainly a mixture of qualitative and quantitative. And this goes back to what I was saying in regards to, well, how do investing in community and maybe not getting that immediate kind of return financially, right? But that qualitative piece helps you make sense of how the return on investment comes in revenue wise. So qualitatively, I'm measuring event attendance, returners, especially. I'm measuring the NPS scores. I'm measuring engagement. Who's in our forum, who's actively, what's her lurker percentage, right? Like that person kind of just comes on and doesn't really say anything. So if they're logging in, but they're not, actively participating, they're simply just digesting. What's our active percentage, which is like actually asking questions or commenting on things, because that's how a member forum kind of works. So those are all kind of qualitative, and some of them are quantitative pieces as well. But I think that those are kind of like the bits and pieces or the KPIs that might measure up for someone like me who's building community for at least a membership organization that is based on retention, right? And them coming back.
I love this. Such a great list of key KPIs and ideas around measuring ROI. And I love that you bring up the qualitative side of it because you mentioned right off the top, and I think everyone on this call can relate to this in some way, shape, or form, that it can be hard to measure because it's hard to measure a feeling.
Right.
I'm wondering if you can like recall a time, again, I'm keeping you on your toes here a little bit, but where you just knew something was working really well and you weren't able to measure it.
You see, those are like the easy things, right? It's hard for you to translate that, let's say, into an executive report or like you said, Michelle, an event recap. But when you feel that, you're like, oh, these people are here way after, like the event's been done. Or, now, oh, they want to go to the next place and the next place, and it becomes an all-night thing, let's say. Those are the moments where you're like, I did my job, or when I call it like the ripple effect, right? It's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect of the community. It's a ripple effect of, let's say, an event that you put together, where you are just seeing something flourish right before your eyes. You're seeing a friendship flourish. You're seeing a business partnership flourish. Like I've literally have members who've gone into business together. I have members who've gotten married, and I've been invited to the wedding. I have members who, I have members who have said, this has completely changed my life and the way I do business. Like those are the qualitative pieces that are really hard to measure, yet completely worth it and tell you that you're on the right track.
Obsessed with the ripple effect. It's like, I don't know. It's like, I don't even know how to resonate more deeply with what you just shared. But you're just reminding us or me right now that, if Michelle and I didn't have the experience of building community together at Lululemon and then at Bailey Nelson many moons ago, we wouldn't be sitting here in this business partnership with all of you with this mission to create more community focused builders in the world. And so we're just such an example of one of those ripple effects that we hope will continue on forever. And it's hard to measure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also think it's hard to intentionally plan for at the same time, right? So
Mhm.
sometimes I love your example of like the night went on or like the unexpected happened. You sometimes cannot plan for that.
Mhm.
And it's then after the fact trying to relay the magic that occurred. We once I was at a brand called Day, which is a women's health brand, and we did something that I thought was quite clever as we were entering a new market, which happened to be New York. And we linked up with someone who we knew was really well connected and had them actually curate the guest list for this experience we were hosting. And she did an incredible job. And one person that she happened to invite, went straight for our founder, asked a ton of questions, filmed everything, got to do a CBD tampon demo, and watch the wrapper was dissolvable in water, so it was a sustainable product as well, and
How
filmed
awesome.
all of this. And then in the aftermath, she put this incredible TikTok video together, and the video got like 3 million views.
Oh my gosh.
Like that was not something, of course, our intention was that, yeah, we're going to get the right people in the room. We're going to host the right experience that's, worthy of storytelling around.
Mhm.
But that was just like something we could never have predicted or planned for. And I kept saying it was the TikTok that kept giving, the gift that kept on giving. Insia, thanks so much for joining us. Okay, where are we? You know what? We have one more question.
Yeah.
And then we'll open it up for anyone else who has curious questions for Ashley. So, when you're deep in the mode of event planning, production, all of those highly intricate things, what are your non-negotiables? What are the things that you absolutely must tick off your list?
Mhm. Yeah. So I identify as smarter, not harder of a worker. I like to simplify things to the maximum, like don't complicate it. And I feel like so many people approach events forgetting the basics, right? So it's the who, what, when, why, right? And of course, the how is your job. But the who, what, when, why is something that doesn't always get the attention that it should, right? They're like, oh, who, people. We need a 50 people. That's the goal, right? And how we get there is, how we're gonna get there. And then the what, oh, let's do a dinner. And then the when, let's do it next month from now and at this time. And instead of really thinking about those things. And it goes back to earlier when we were talking about, I don't like to guess. What do our members want? What works for them? And for me, my specialty is the executive, right? The senior leader. So who is always who makes sense to them, right? So instead of just having random or kind of a mosh posh of executives, I typically want to break that down and say, okay, well, what type of executive wants to meet, if they're in tech, maybe we have a room full of CTOs, devoted CTOs and CIOs, or the what. Well, what's happening in tech right now? Well, AI is completely taking over. How are these people integrating it into their businesses? What are, and the when is, well, CTOs, they work a lot, they also have, families. And so it's hard for them to commit to anything outside of their work time. So let's do a luncheon because it's during the day. And the where is something that's super convenient near, well, where's Meta, where's Google, let's do it near their offices so it's really easy to pop over to. And then the why is, why are we getting these people together? Why do they want to come? What's the purpose? What are the expectations? What can they look forward to seeing? Like executives want to know that. They want to know, well, if I'm going to put my time towards this, why? So, I think really kind of digging deep into those basic things is where the magic lies instead of making it, more kind of flashy than it needs to be and just hitting on like the really imperative things.
I'm nodding the whole way through. And it's funny, this is way back. In my early career, we had something we called footsteps, which was really just an approach of literally yourself closing your eyes and walking yourself through an event, and then picking out the things that you want to make sure that your guests see and feel and experience. So sort
Love
of
that.
reminds me of that. Apologies if you can hear sad baby.
We'll bring it over.
I can't. You're
I'll go
good.
get it.
He wants to meet you all. That's what he's saying right now. You're gonna get to meet the cutest baby of all time. Yeah, and Ashley, as I was listening to you share, I was like feeling a moment of pride because we have a whole module in our masterclass dedicated to events and activations.
Hi.
The party, right? And we're so aligned in our thinking in terms of like what is the framework?
Mhm.
What is the framework that leads to the key takeaway there was around simplicity, and following a simple template and framework to design events.
That experience, right? Yeah, for sure. And I think it also for me, like I always say, like my favorite thing when it comes to an event is making sure the event doesn't feel like a event, right? It doesn't feel like a thing. That's why I use the word events, whether it be on my LinkedIn or, because it's simple and everyone knows what events are. But that's why I truly do call myself like an experience curator because it should be an experience and it should live beyond the events, right? It's about the follow through, what happens after that event. How are you getting in contact with these people and making sure and following up and making sure that whatever they came to that event for is now something that, if it didn't happen there, that you are able to make happen for them. And then, making sure that they're connecting with the right people. So just like a full cycle experience.
Yeah,
I love so much.
here.
If anyone wants an interesting podcast listen, there's a podcast called Death, Sex, and
Oof. Biggest.
I
there's
know, what a
Oh,
We
cliffhanger.
lost you. We lost you right at death, sex, and
Yeah.
Death, Sex, and Money. Spoiler.
Got it.
And there's an episode where the interviewee is an experience architect, essentially, or experience designer, and just does the most wild, not like non-events, essentially. So look out for that one. Go look up Death, Sex, and Money. Okay, we must open it up.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Ashley, thank you so much for all of the great insights, wisdom. It's hearing your perspective is super inspiring. And I'm sure we have some questions. Any follow-up questions from our participants or anything you want to hear from Ashley that you haven't already heard? Claire, you're up first.
More of a comment because you actually kind of started to answer my question in your last answer there, Ashley. But kind of in my experience as well, I've worked at different organizations where they kind of have all these great ideas and they're really clear on what their goals are around community building. But I think the kind of keeping that momentum going after a really strong event is where they kind of lose their step a little bit. And I think that's it's such a large part of everything that you're doing when you're approaching community building. So I've really just, I guess, more of a comment where I think I see a lot of companies kind of struggle there because there's so much to consider in terms of capacity and kind of budget and resourcing and
Right.
all of those what nexts and all of that connection that you're talking about typically is such a hands-on activity sometimes as
It
well,
takes a
especially if you're wanting to make it that personal touch, that human touch. So
Yeah.
more of a comment than a question, I guess, but
Yeah, no, great comment. And yeah, completely agree. You really do have to kind of wrangle your executive team or your leadership when it comes to events and making sure that they invest in the aftermath, right? So the aftermath for the attendee, not just the aftermath for the business, because the aftermath for the business is getting NPS, is like getting surveys back, right? Is making sure that they're getting, a certain product or a discount code, whatever it may be, whatever you may do. It's typically kind of brand or business forward rather than what can we do for you. What did you, what did you not get from the event, and how can we turn that around? So yeah, I think being attendee focused first will then bring you what you need to do and get for the business, the brand.
Love that. Who else has a comment, question, query? Mhm.
I was just going to say, I have an event tomorrow, so this is perfect. I just feel very inspired by good reminders of being like, just focus on the who, what, when, why, like good grounding reminders. So I appreciate this conversation as I head into a fun little event tomorrow night.
What's your event, Katie?
Yeah.
Tomorrow I am going to London and I'm bringing together 22 of our ambassadors. We're kind of, I've started this dinner series. Has anyone heard of or done a Jeffersonian style dinner before? No.
If you
Teach
tell,
us.
I'm sometimes bad with names, so but
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
people.
yeah. I'm sure. Essentially, like, so Thomas Jefferson used to do these back in the day, where he would bring it like anywhere from the sweet spot is 12 to 15 people, but the whole goal of the kind of dinner is that everybody speaks, and you hear from everyone, and you basically get to connect with everyone. Because oftentimes when you go to long table dinners, you only get to talk to the people next to you, right? So I've launched this dinner series. We've called it the Rounds Table because I work in with healthcare professionals. And essentially every kind of theme or dinner rotates based off of like market. So recently in London was changeover day. So junior doctors are rotating through to new kind of departments. And so tomorrow night is just GPs from all different kind of like times in their career, seasons in their career. So it's just a night of connection, inspiration, mentorship, insights, and just honestly like a moment to pause and just be together because it's quite hectic within the hospital right now. And also just it's like quite a wild time to be working in the NHS as a junior doctor. So that's tomorrow night and I'm really excited, but it's just like a dinner and one of our ambassadors is leading it. I don't really need to be there. But this was just like a really good reminder that it's like an experience being the power of being an experienced curator and just like really reminding myself of the what, the who, the why. And
Mhm.
So happy this was a timely conversation for you, Katie. That's awesome.
yeah, it was so good. No, I love it. I'm like, thank you. Very inspired. Gonna be
Katie,
great.
will you drop in the chat the method or the thing? Did you say
Yeah.
Jefferson?
Jeffersonian. Yeah, Jeffersonian. The ambassador that I'm like leading it with, she was like, I'm gonna when we talk about that, I'm just gonna tell you to say that word. I'm like, I got it, I got it. I've said it so many times that I can say that part and like the flow, but essentially it's like after every course, you either change seats or you change tables. So that you
Yes.
can meet with new people. So it's just because yeah, just want you so you can meet everyone in the room.
That's a
Yes.
hot tip. We'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, you gotta do it. It's great. Would highly recommend it. People have been loving it so far.
Have you Oh, okay, I was gonna say, have you done it yet?
Yes, we did it in Toronto last week and it was like such a success. No one had done it before and everybody was like, this was just so new. Sorry?
Same amount of people?
15 people. 15 people at
Okay.
that one. And then there was 5 people at each table, and then each course they changed. And then we basically have these like little prompts, the conversation cards, and you can make them themed that you had the moderators like read out. And so everybody gets to kind of like contribute. But like, yeah, the whole goal is that you hear from everybody in the room. Anyways, sorry, bit of a plug. Everybody take it and do it in your communities.
Mhm.
But thank you, Ashley.
We've got a great question from Elia, and I hope I'm saying your name correctly in the chat. I'll read it out. To you. Aaliyah? Is that
Elia.
Elia?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
got it.
Mhm.
Beautiful. She'd like to know what advice Ashley has for someone getting started in the business of community building for a brand. And then we'll go to Andrea, who also has her hand up.
Love that question, Elia. So Elia actually has been in the consumer brand space for quite a while. She's amazing at her job. She supports some really awesome executives in the fashion and beauty space. Thanks for joining, Elia. What advice do I have for someone getting started in the business of community building for a brand? Okay. I think getting kind of I think talking to leadership, right? Talking to leadership, um, allowing for them to understand fully what community building is, right? At its just core, as well as sharing how it specifically relates to brands, giving them different brand kind of brand examples. Like Michelle and Krista have awesome ones, like Lululemon and Day, right? Yeah, like I think, you know, when you're thinking about building a community, you know, for a brand or around a brand, is just bringing on your leadership first really just makes your life so much easier. This way, you know, once they kind of understand at least the basics, they'll likely give you a little bit to play with, and then you take it from there. You start small. I think, you know, so many from what I've heard, right? Because like I said, my specialty has mainly been on the executive side of things for community, the membership side of things for community. But in my experience at the Den, or the Digital Executive Network, where, you know, we're full of consumer executives, that has been just them sharing, okay, well, we community build through our influencers, we community build through our, you know, our supporters on social. And that's why community has just evolved so much over the past 10 years, because now they're incorporating, like I said, like that collaborative piece where now you're working not with just like a one community of, let's say, like a Slack channel, or even now they have Instagram kind of group chats, and where they're doing it for artists now that I see, and brands. But they're collaborating with the social media team, they're collaborating with the content team. So I think starting at the top, right? Like get your leader, your boss, to understand. They'll get their boss to understand. Request a test. Request a test. Say, hey, you know, I'd like to test this. And then if it goes well, we invest more. And then if that goes well, we invest more. So really just getting your leadership involved, and then deciding to use tests to prove the concept.
That's such a smart way to ease into something, and to not like scare off a funding executive. I think on that note as well, having an executive sponsor can also be really powerful. Like if you have someone who you've enrolled and then can go to bat for you in those conversations that you might not be a part of, is another great one.
Yeah, good.
Absolutely. And getting your friends involved too, right? Like not just you going to that one executive, but perhaps you and the social media manager and the content producer, and, you know, and saying, hey, we have, like, you know, strength is in numbers. We have this idea. We feel like, you know, we working as a team rather in these little silos, like I was talking about earlier, would really benefit a true community feel and space for the brand.
Andrea, the floor is yours.
Thank you. That's so much amazing insight and information. Thank you for triggering so many interesting little nuggets to take away and then dig into. I've really appreciated the conversation. You know, there's so many pieces that I'd love to hear more about, but one of the things that stood out was when you talked about something that seems rather small in its kind of activity, and that is you talked about handwritten notes. That triggered something for me, in that part of what I recognize as being incredibly impactful, and oftentimes the things that create, we can call it core memory or emotion-based memory, would be based on the smallest of details, the differentiators that set some kind of experience apart from every other experience that we're having. And I had years in working with an amazing mentor and storyteller and visionary fellow who his gift was storytelling and creating the space for stories that not only resonated but left such a deep kind of emotional charge that it created lasting core memory for folks that were part of it. And the way that he did this was not always through grand gestures, which, there were some of those as well. But the pieces that people took away, pardon me, the pieces that people took away and then would share back to him and to us as a small company would always be the gestures that were those little human gestures of thought and care and consideration. They would be the handwritten note. They would be that there would be, as an example, great thought that went into the planning of a meal, a shared meal, so that it included things that people loved or didn't have the things that they didn't love. It's in those tiniest of little gestures that it will change the way a person feels and experiences whatever it is that they're part of, and will keep that memory now going forward as being a core memory or an awe moment where they felt that deep connection to not only the experience but the other people that they were with. So I really, it's a really big part for me in my career and in my work and just who I am, is the thought of the detail. And I have, in fact, taken away a little kind of element, which is a gold paper clip, which has the story of why details matter and how they can make all the difference between being heard, remembered, seen, and valued, and the opposite. And so the gold paper clip for me is a bit of a community building tool and trigger or piece that keeps us all connected and interconnected and remembering the experiences that we have together. So thank you for sharing your experience of the power of the little things, the notes, the handwriting. I really appreciated that, and all the other experiences that you've shared today. Appreciate it.
Love.
Thank you. Absolutely.
Andrea, you have like such a gift for bringing us full circle. What I was thinking about as you shared was where we started the call with Ashley's name tag and those words that were those handwritten words that she shared, that she still carries with her and keeps on her desk. It's such a beautiful example of the power of a few themes that have come up, but simplicity, intentionality, anything that's like analog or man-made.
I was going to say an artifact.
An artifact.
Yeah.
There you go. Thanks for bringing us home. We're so grateful that you all took precious time out of your day to come and connect with us and be inspired by each other. There's absolutely no pressure with this invitation, but it's Elia and Kamala. If you're in a position to come off your, turn on your video for a quick sec, we're going to take a quick group photo, which is a tradition.
With our small guest star here.
With our little guest star. And you can just completely ignore us if you're not in a place to do that. Oh, hello. It's so nice to see you. Okay, here we go, everyone.
Or whatever you want to do.
So you can follow Ashley on LinkedIn. Look her up by her full name, Ashley Grant. We're going to go ahead and post this conversation to our YouTube channel and share via social. We're super grateful you took time, Ashley, to join us today. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
And you can say
You guys are the best.
September 11th is our next Brand Together conversation. We've got a really exciting guest coming up. So save the date.
Stay tuned. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy your rest of your week and weekend.
Good luck tomorrow, Katie.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.